But in our case, in today's video, we're just going to focus on Arize Phoenix. It's an open source tool that you can use for increasing the observability in your system. In our case, hey everyone, my name is Apurva Misra, and today we are going to go over evaluation in agentic systems. Evaluation in agentic systems is a bit different from software engineering because inherently the system is based on LLMs and they are non-deterministic or probabilistic. So basically there are a lot of things you have to keep in mind when you are working with agents to make sure they're reliable. In this video I wouldn't go over all of that. What I would be focusing on is how can you increase the observability of your system. There are a lot of tools out there which can help you with that, but in our case, in today's video, we're just going to focus on Arize Phoenix. It's an open source tool that you can use for increasing the observability in your system. In our case, the agent is basically the same agent I used to explain the difference between PydanticAI and BAML. You can find that in another video on my channel. This video is basically focusing on the PydanticAI agent, and how that worked was if a user comes and asks a question, the LLM chooses the next step. So agents are basically while loops, and you give them access to multiple tools so that they can take actions. So they are an LLM in the middle, and a while loop runs along with like tools that the LLM has access to. So if a user query comes in, the LLM decides what step I should take to resolve this user query. It can decide it needs to do a web search, so it comes to this search web action, and then like the search web happens and the output of that goes back to the LLM. So like I was saying, the while loop, so it happens iteratively, and this output goes to the LLM, then the LLM decides, is this enough to answer the user's query? If that is enough, it will decide the decision is final answer, it will come here. If it is not enough, it will figure out, should I do a web search again? Should I like query the internal DB, or what should I do next? Just ignore this dotted line. This is for the BAML framework. This video is focused on Pydantic. So the three actions that this LLM has available to it is SERP API, that is through the web search, the query internal DB, and the final answer. So if it thinks that it's ready to give the answer to the user, it will call this action, and it would like prepare the summarized answer, prepare it for the user and send it to the user. The only difference between the other two actions and the query internal DB is it has a human in the loop. So the human has to approve whether the LLM is allowed to query the internal DB or not. If it's not allowed, the denied action from the user would go to the LLM. Okay, so this is the whole flow in our case, but let me go and run it once. It's just like summarize our Q1 product launch results. I'll go over the code as well, but basically in the prompt we have explained to the model, if the query is about the company, focus on querying the internal DB. But if the query is like a generic query, like someone asking about ice cream shops, then you have to go do the web search. So in this case, it should try to do the internal DB search. So it's asking for human approval. But let me show you that the server, the Arize Phoenix server is running in the other tab. So once we finish this query and we get the answer, we can go check out the trace. So this is the final answer it gave to us. So the answer is this, the confidence is this, and the citations are those. And let's go back to our dashboard, and this is the agent run. The question that we asked was summarize a Q1 product launch results, and this is the output. This is the final output that we got. So the citations, the confidence, and now if I click on any of this, it's showing me the tool that it called to query internal DB, and showing me the whole thing. So what's the system prompt? So this is our system prompt. I can show this to you through the code as well. But basically, you are a research assistant. These are the available tools for you. And then you have to respond to the user, and you have to follow these strict rules. The user query is this. So based on the user query, the LLM decides it has to query the internal DB, and the topic it's going to use for querying is the product. Then it queries the internal DB, it gets these documents back, and it decides the output is going to be this. This is the answer, the final answer, and it sends it back to the user. So what I wanted to show to you through this tool was, there are so many tools which can do that. If you can build your own tool, good enough, but like these tools already exist out there. And anything like whenever you're thinking about evaluating your model, evaluating your agentic systems, you have to think about tracking everything from the beginning till the end. So like the user query going in, what the LLM is deciding, its thought process, what action it took, the inputs or the arguments going into the tool call, the output of then the next one. So iteratively like track every single thing till like the final answer that's coming to the user. There are like mistakes happening, there are issues. You can at least go back and figure out where the issues were, and this trace helps you with that. So tracking is like the most important thing when you think about evaluating your system or improving your system. And this is just like one of the tools, Arize Phoenix. There are so many other tools that you can use. And this is the prompt here. And let me, this is the input. Let me go back and just run a web search query so that it's not about the company. It's just a generic query. Where can I find the best pizza in New York? So it should use web search tool call. So you can see. Okay, so it responded with the answer. Let's go back to our dashboard. So you see the output, you see the input. Let's look at the tool call. So tool was the search web, and this was the query that went into the web search. Best pizza in New York City, top spots 2024, 2025. So the LLM decided like what search, and these were the outputs, all the URLs. And yeah, you can see the input message, the user, assistant, everything, tool call, the output finally. And you can also like do annotations, you can like work with, so this is like me going into how evaluation works when you're working with agentic systems. Like you need a subject matter expert or the domain expert, and you sit with them and look at all these traces and figure out where the issues are, where was the right answer, why it was the right answer, why it was the wrong answer. So like they can annotate it here as well. Like you can decide there are tone issues with this agent, like they can figure out, like look at the trace and be like, okay, this one has tone issues, this one has tone issues. And like, yeah, so this is, you can use this to track everything, and it's like a nice way to look at those traces. You can also build your own trace visualization tools so that the annotator or like the domain expert has like a nice yes and no button or right or wrong button and like a nice text field to fill it in. But it depends on you. These are like observability tools. You have to figure out like what makes it easier so that the domain expert is more involved in the process, because you need their time. You need them to spend time to make this agent fulfill their requirements or align with them. Whatever is in their head, you should get it out and form a rubric so that the agent is able to match that. So this is about the example that I wanted to show, and let me show the code as well. It's pretty much the same code that is in the other video. This is the system prompt, like I was saying, and you have the tools, the web search, query internal DB, and this is the run agent loop. That's about it. I want to show you one more thing about the internal DB. So internal DB is pretty much, it's fake data. Every document has like a title, has a topic. So that's why like it chose the topic product, because the question was about product, so it needed documents which were about the topic product. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you. Yeah, thank you.